معهد دبي للذكاء الاصطناعي يمثل منصة لتبادل الرؤى والأفكار وأيضًا التعرف على أحدث التطبيقات في مجال الذكاء الاصطناعي التوليدي. اليوم دولة الإمارات تنافس دول العالم وبالأخص في مجال الذكاء الاصطناعي التوليدي. يمكن لا يخفى عليكم دور الإمارات وبالأخص في الإنجازات المتمثلة في دمج الذكاء الاصطناعي التوليدي وبالأخص النماذج اللغوية الضخمة مثل مشروع فالكون، مشروع نور أو مشروع جيس. اليوم نحن أطلقنا العديد من المشاريع اللغوية الضخمة، وأهمية هذه المشاريع في إحداث مجالات ثورية في عدة قطاعات رئيسية مثل الصحة، الطب، الترفيه، التعليم وغيرها. اليوم في معهد الابتكار التكنولوجي نشتغل على العديد من المشاريع في مجال الروبوتات، الأمن السيبراني، الطاقة المتجددة، الشبكات اللاسلكية وأيضًا الذكاء الاصطناعي والعلوم الرقمية وغيرها من المجالات الكثيرة. نحن ما نختص فقط بالأبحاث التطبيقية، أهمية الأبحاث اللي نقوم فيها إن هذه الأبحاث ممكن إنها تروح اللي هو لسوق العمل، مثل مشروع فالكون اليوم هو نموذج متقدم يعتمد على الذكاء الاصطناعي، ولكن يمكن البناء عديد من التطبيقات اللي هو التجارية على هذا المشروع. اليوم معهد الابتكار التكنولوجي يركز على التعاون أيضًا بين العديد من المؤسسات العالمية. إحنا نتعاون مع أكثر من 110 مؤسسات عالمية أو شركات تكنولوجية في مختلف القطاعات. الجدير بالذكر أيضًا لبناء أي تكنولوجيا متطورة، تبادل الخبرات والمهارات ركيزة أساسية، واستثمار المواهب أيضًا يساهم في تنمية هذه التكنولوجيا الحديثة.
The difference between generative AI and AGI. Generative AI as a technology is actually available today. So the example of that is ChatGPT and a number of other tools that basically you can communicate and give you an output and produce something. AGI is a completely different concept, and this is where basically these models, or let's say a set of technology that actually can autonomously do things. Okay, doing a certain task for you, and basically you set them on a path. So it's a concept of, let's say, a machine and a human live together anymore. So I think that is not something available obviously today. It's going to take a number of years to advance and get to it. And the biggest challenge is about how we're going to regulate this model and how we're going to make sure in such an environment there is a level of safety and there is a level of, let's say, trust, provision. So that is the main thing about it. I mean, in terms of the example of a certain things like an AGI, I think we better talk about what we call a semi-autonomous models right now. And these are the specific, let's say, technologies have usage in things like healthcare, okay? But these are augmented. So for example, as a doctor, I can use basically these advanced models to give me a second opinion in terms of things like, for example, issues with the diseases and the potential basically picking up certain points, right? So the AGI as a technology or as a concept, we are far from it. Is it going to be a number of years? We don't know. So depend on how this is going to be regulated and how people are going to innovate to get to that point. Yeah, I think that many concerns come to mind when we're talking about AI in general. And people are saying, okay, I'm going to lose my job, or how it's going to affect my employment. That's the first topic. So I think, learning it and adopting it, it's definitely going to make people more productive. And for sure, the people who adopt AI, they're going to have a better chance and they're going to be more productive compared to the people who don't want to basically embark it. So I guess that is the number one. So they need to be a path to learning and transforming self. And these are not difficult texts, so it's as long as you can communicate with it with a language, so be able to get the outputs. Okay. The second area around the trust of I'm going to give my data to these models or the tools, how it's going to be protected, how it's going to be used, and I think on that one, there are going to be a number of different elements in terms of, okay, different, let's say, tools, how they actually use data, how to take your data. In general, I think the guidelines and those regulations are going to be established in the months to come in terms of the speed of how this technology is being developed, what kind of use cases you can use, and how the information going to be shared with it. Okay, so that's the two elements. They're basically the jobs and the trust. So, look, AI going to give you a set of skills, or let's say that you don't have today, right? So, if you wanted to get a legal opinion, AI can actually help you with that. AI going to basically give you the knowledge that we do not have. Okay. Basically, AI gonna basically give you a set of skills. Like, for example, I can be a graphic designer. I don't know if you were part of the session that we had in morning, but it gives you a lot more skills. So that not necessarily going to limit you, is going to give you a different way to think. So if you are more creative, more entrepreneur, you got more tools in your hands to actually do the things that you cannot do today, and you need a team of people to do. So I think the whole way that we think about how we're going to do things or do tasks in the future is going to change, and there are going to be a set of tools that I like to let you do it. An example of that is, if you wanted to go and do a carpentry, what are you going to do if you do not have that tools? Now you got the tools, you can actually do the creation much better of what you're trying to do. So that's just probably the example.
So the interesting about artificial intelligence and generative AI, which is the topic today, is that nearly every sector is going to be affected, right? We're seeing, marketing companies and content companies being affected. We're seeing the legal profession being affected. So GPT-4 recently passed the US bar exam unaided. It passed the US medical exam, medical licensing exam with a 90% accuracy. Those are all traditional professions that you wouldn't expect to be affected by AI. Music industry is being affected. I mentioned in my speech, Paul McCartney's releasing a song with John Lennon where his voice will be recreated, and the software industry is being affected. We're doing a lot of projects with clients where we're using this technology to look at code and translate old code into new code. Not 100% automatically, but it takes about 40 to 60% of the effort out. So look, I think there are always two views on this. One is that you're going to need less people, and one is that you're actually going to be able to serve more clients. For me, I think it's the latter. When you look at when the spreadsheet was introduced, people say, oh, we're not going to need so many accountants because these computers can add all those numbers by themselves. Actually, we now have more accountants. I think yes, we're going to have to change our skills. We're going to have to learn to work with the technology. But I think the opportunity this is going to create for businesses to serve more clients and to make the humans do less boring work, I think is going to be immense. I don't think it makes us less intelligent. I think we need to be careful, that we don't kind of shorten our attention spans more like social media has done to us, right? But what it does do is it levels up. So in studies that have been produced, people that use generative AI, the really, really good people don't increase as well as the people that are not so good. The people that are not so good become very good. So it's a great leveler for all humanity. So, it creates huge opportunity because, all our clients are asking about it. I've never had so many client conversations as I've had in the last 6 months in that period of time. But we're also an industry that's 170 years old and is going to be transformed. So we are putting a lot of effort in learning lessons as to how we use that technology to be able to create reports better, to be able to create software better, to be able to advise our clients better. And 50% of the efforts we're putting in at the moment is to our own transformation, 50% to helping transform our clients. Again, we are looking at how it will affect the workforce, but we don't think it will affect it negatively. We just think that we're going to be able to do a lot more work, a lot more effectively using this technology. To be safe, spend time understanding the technology, right? Because people often just quote what they read, right? I think until you take the tools and you play with them, you don't understand the nuances, right? And understand how it can help you become better, not how it can take over what you're doing.